Last night at Anfield was supposed to be the coronation of the new era. The return from the international break, a chance to regain momentum, silence the growing band of doubters, and remind the footballing world precisely why they wear the Premier League champions badge. Instead, a simple, yet devastating, late header from Harry Maguire sealed a 2-1 defeat. Manchester United's first win at Anfield in almost a decade. This was not a mere tactical defeat. It was the moment the scary, systemic truth about Arne Slot's Liverpool was unequivocally exposed. This isn't a temporary wobble in form. This is a crisis built on strategic failures, widespread underperformance from key signings, and the profound, lingering absence of a crucial attacker they chose to let walk away.
Trafford, and that team, just once they'd lost one, they just went on this run of losing games because everyone just got this belief they could go and beat them at the time. As I said, it happened to City last season, and it feels like Liverpool now have just lost that sort of cloak of invincibility where, last season they went months without losing a game, and then once they've lost one, they're chinking their armours there, and it just feels like every game they go into now, the opposition have got real belief they can score goals. Small margins right now, whereas at times at the start of the season they were going for them, they're now going against them, and it just feels like every game goes to the wire.
First time they've lost 4 straight matches across all competitions, going back more than a decade. We take a look at the top half of the Premier League.
How can you possibly win a title when your back four are in so much disarray that you can't defend against anybody? I mean, Manchester United should have been 2 up at half-time. Bruno Fernandes let Liverpool off the hook when he hit the post and it went wide. I mean, Connor Bradley looks half the player that he was when he burst on the scene. Konate has had a terrible start. Virgil van Dijk, to me, looks as though he's trying to do too much. He's trying to cover too much. And Kerkez looks out his depth. Now, that's the base of your team. And when that isn't functioning, it's not functioning when the opposition are getting at them, but it's not functioning with the ball either. Because when they're coming out, every man and his dog doesn't want to pass the ball to Kerkez. You've lost the left-hand side of your attack before you even start. Looking at Mo Salah, who looks like he's forgotten how to play the game. Kerkez and unfortunately Mo Salah right now, the both of them are passengers. And you cannot win titles with passengers on your team.
Virgil van Dijk, to me, is not leading at the moment, he's blaming. And Kerkez is having a bad time. There's no doubt about it. He's getting swallowed up by the pressure of going in with these big players in this huge football club with these big expectations. But I don't think it helps when your captain's looking at him every 2 minutes and blaming him or digging him out. Even at the end, the clearance that comes off Kerkez's face, what's he supposed to do?
Right.
He's tucking in behind Van Dijk and Van Dijk's turning around and he's gesturing to him. The crowd see it. And I just don't think that helps the situation. Now, Andy Robertson's big boots to fill because he's been a great left back for a few years, but he can't really do it anymore. So Stevie and I have talked about this, about maybe taking him out the pressure cooker, but Robertson's been struggling for club and country. But then you get to Arne Slot and you talk about team selection. That's 4 defeats in a row. They were playing their biggest rivals historically at home. He's once again favoured Isak over their most informed player in Ekitike. Ekitike should have played at Chelsea, and he should have played today. And since Ekitike has come in, he's looked sharp as a tack. So he's not only playing a player who's not quite ready yet in Alexander Isak, he's denting the confidence of another. And we talked all week about Man United being weak in the middle of the park. But there's also a lot, I think, falling at the feet of the manager, saying your selections of these star players in the last 3 or 4 games, you could argue he's getting it wrong.
The individual performances of the Liverpool's defenders was really poor, and decision making. The left back's not settled in. There's no point in me going over that again. I said on this podcast, I think 3 weeks ago, he plays like a 10-year-old left back. He's all over the place. At right back, Connor Bradley was okay today. I don't think he did anything particularly wrong, but Van Dijk, I've not seen Van Dijk as shaky as that. Now, sometimes when a player comes back from an international break, it's been him that's been holding it together, but he had one of his worst games today.
Some reckon Liverpool's split might just have become a crisis.
The problem for me is definitely at the back. I mean, if you look at the Mbeumo goal, it's like Van Dijk wasn't warm yet. It was like he wasn't ready for the start of the game. I mean, he just jogs back, doesn't realise that players might run behind him. Then Konate's got to come over. Just calamitous at the back, Jeff. Salah's not firing. I mean, Salah and Isak have got no relationship at the moment. Whenever Salah's trying to put him through, he's not making the runs. Then Ekatike's on the bench, should he have been starting? I think they've got a problem there, Jeff. It just seems a bit not working at the moment for Liverpool.
Yeah, and none of the signings, in truth, have really come off. I mean, you mentioned Salah there. Is it time to leave Salah out? I couldn't believe they kept him on for 85 minutes yesterday.
I think it is. I think you have to be honest. He's not performing. He's not offering much defensively. And yesterday, Jeff, he kept on cutting inside and trying to force passes that weren't on.
Say this, but I mean, the thing is that you look at him now and he's got his contract and it's a little bit, is it comfortable? Is he really working hard enough to be in that team? You'd probably say no.
Let's begin with the catastrophic defensive breakdown. Manchester United arrived with a cautious, counter-attacking plan honed to exploit one specific, glaring vulnerability. That problem starts and ends on the left flank. Arne Slot's high-energy, high-press system demands fullbacks who can function as auxiliary wingers, providing non-stop attacking output while possessing the pace and discipline to recover. Milos Kerkez, the 40 million summer signing from Bournemouth, who is touted as the epitome of the modern, explosive fullback, had what can only be described as a complete nightmare. His positioning was consistently errant, leaving vast expanses of green grass for United's wingback Amad Diallo to run into. The Hungarian looked isolated, uncertain, and completely overwhelmed by the gravity of the fixture. The criticism was immediate and scathing. Pundits openly branded him a nervous wreck and lamented that the game was happening too fast for him. This isn't just harsh criticism. It is a profound indictment of a massive disconnect between the manager's ambition for that position and the player's readiness for a title-challenging side. United shrewdly targeted the space Kerkez constantly vacated, forcing Virgil van Dijk to drift out and cover ground that the Dutch captain simply cannot cover with his previous ease. When a 40 million defender becomes the primary tactical liability in the season's biggest match, the fault must be shared by the manager who selected him and the entire recruitment chain that sanctioned the investment. The manner of United's first goal, scored within 61 seconds by Brian Bumo, who burst into Kerkez's vacated zone, provided a painful, minute-long summation of Liverpool's defensive disarray. But the porous defense is only half the crisis. Up front, Liverpool looked toothless, predictable, and remarkably wasteful, especially in the first half where they hit the woodwork 3 times. Alexander Isak, the British record signing, the striker brought in to become the long-term number 9 and guarantee goal output. Right now, he is a ghost in the final third, an empty jersey struggling with the pressure of his monumental fee. With only 1 league goal in 7 appearances since his arrival, his struggles are symbolic of the team's creative paralysis. Yesterday, he had a clear-cut opportunity after a through ball from Konate, only to be thwarted by a sharp save, reinforcing the sense of bad luck and shattered confidence that now surrounds him. He drifted in and out, failed to connect with the midfield runners, and was eventually and mercifully substituted in the 72nd minute, his scoring drought continuing. Slot told the press Isak was 100% ready before the game. The match proved that statement was either an attempt at morale boosting or simply untrue. And then there is the unthinkable, the collapse of an icon, Mohamed Salah. The king of Anfield in this fixture, the man who lives for a United match, was uncharacteristically passive. Salah looked visibly frustrated, often choosing to pass when he once would have shot, and when the defining moment of individual quality came in the 65th minute, the simple, close-range finish, we've seen him score 100 times he slashed it wide. This is no momentary dip. Statistically, his direct output, goals and assists, is down by almost 50% compared to the corresponding period last season. The chance creation numbers remain respectable, evidence of his underlying quality, but the cold, lethal finishing that defined his career has completely evaporated. The inability of Liverpool's talisman to perform is the loudest symptom of the entire team's collapse in confidence and structural fatigue. And this leads us to the most painful, most haunting truth of all, the absence of Luis Diaz. The sheer necessity of what he provided, that frantic, direct chaos, the winger who made space for others simply by running tirelessly at a fullback until they crumbled, was missed desperately. He's currently thriving at Bayern Munich, scoring goals, delivering assists, and performing in the form of his life, a move he himself described as a big gamble to the German giants. Liverpool banked on their summer signings to cover the profound loss of a 66 million winger who had just delivered his most prolific season. The gamble failed. Diaz's relentless, high-press energy is exactly what this static, hesitant Liverpool attack needed to break down a well-organized United defense. Instead, the team is forced to watch from afar as their former star rips up the Bundesliga, leaving a creativity and intensity void at Anfield that is yet to be filled. The panic button was finally hit around the hour mark with the introduction of the reinforcements, including Florian Wirtz, the 100 million German superstar. He entered the pitch alongside fellow expensive forward Hugo Ekitike, and it was Wirtz's composure in a crowded box that eventually set up the equalizing goal. And yet, the question remains, why did he not start? A player of his quality, the centerpiece of the club's colossal summer rebuild, can barely get into a starting 11 that has just lost 3 matches on the bounce. Wirtz, Isak, Salah, Gakpo, all this immense, expensive talent was on the pitch in the last half hour, and they still couldn't find the winner. This isn't a problem of available talent. It's a fundamental failure of the system to integrate, harmonize, and utilize the immense investment Arne Slot has overseen. When you spend a staggering 450 million on new players, you should not, under any circumstances, be staring down the barrel of a 4-game losing streak. Liverpool's devastating loss to Manchester United is not an unfortunate blip. It is a brutal snapshot of a team in an unprecedented existential crisis. The scary truth is this: the very foundations of the new era are crumbling. They have an overly aggressive fullback in Kerkez who is a chronic liability. They have a record-signing striker in Isak who has lost all faith in his ability. They have a club legend in Salah who has lost his lethal, defining edge. And most critically, they have a system that is currently failing to marry the most expensive collection of talent the club has ever assembled. Liverpool are 4 points off the top, but based on performance, they are a million miles away from the champions they were just months ago. And until Arne Slot finds a solution to the terrifying disconnect between his high-risk strategy and his personnel's current form, this terrifying truth will be their new, painful reality.